Dears, I'm muting all of you. Please open your chat boxes. Hi. I have kept your chat box open. You can type your answers here. YouTubers, I suppose you need the Zoom link. Welcome. Here is the Zoom link. YouTubers, Zoomers are waiting. Come fast. Today, I'm going to do a lot of revision because we need to finish this poetry. I need to do linguistics and research methods. Our classroom students, many of them, I have not taught all these things. So we have to do research methods and linguistics also. I have been preparing all that. So I'm going to do a lot of revision today. But even then, we won't be able to finish. Because not only British, we have to do non-British also in poetry. But that is important because poetry means textual questions and poems and all are important, right? So don't worry, it is not going to waste our time. It is good only. Right. Many MCQs are there, some lecture also. I cannot just do MCQs. There are people who are waiting for, and also you need to remember now. So we will do both. Ready? I'm going to start. We are starting from John Milton. John Milton was born in 1608 and lived till 1674. Remember? And Milton's early poems include On Shakespeare, which is published in the second folio of Shakespeare, the epitaph on the admirable dramatic poet William Shakespeare. Before that, he wrote Ode on the Death of a Fair Infant Dying of a Cough. L'Allegro and Il Penseroso came in 1631 and 45. It is about one happy day in the countryside and one melancholy day. What is the name of the goddess invoked in L'Allegro? Everyone quickly. Goddess invoked in L'Allegro. Remember, chat box mein likho. It is Euphrosyne. Euphrosyne. And goddess melancholy is invoked in Il Penseroso. Horton poems include Arcades, Comus, there were masks, and Lycidas, published in 1637. Arcades was written for Countess Dowager of Derby. For whom was Comus written, tell me? नहीं, कभी कभी अन अकेडमी टी शर्ट भी पहनूंगी. बोलो. Comus was written for whom? Comus was written to be presented before. Tell me in chat box. George Egerton. The person before whom it was performed was George Egerton, Earl of Bridgewater. It was presented at Ludlow Castle on Michaelmas night. George Egerton of Lord of Bridgewater, Earl of Bridgewater. Remember? And then he wrote Comus about a lady and her two brothers. She is very virtuous and she is able to resist temptation. Temptation is a theme in Comus also. In Lycidas, he talks about Edward King and he was drowned in the Irish Sea. Lycidas has two famous digressions. After Lycidas, he went on foreign tour when he met Galileo. At this time, he wrote the last of his Latin poems Epitaphium Damonis. Before that, the first of his Latin poems was Elegia Prima. Both Elegia Prima and Epitaphium Damonis were written for Charles Diodati. His first collection of poems came in 1645, and then he wrote his sonnets. There are 23 sonnets, including the sonnet number 19 on his blindness. Then came the three major poems, Paradise Lost, Paradise Regained, and Samson Agonistus. Paradise Lost was first published in 10 books in 1667 and republished in 12 books in 1674. That was the year in which he died. 1671 was the year in which Samson Agonistus and Paradise Regained were published together. Milton's prose is called his left hand, and he wrote anti-prelatical tracts, anti-monarchical tracts, pamphlets on divorce and of education. I did not mention these because in the PowerPoint, because they are prose. We are talking about sonnets here. No, sonnet 19 and 16 are different, of course. Sonnet 19 on his blindness, or did I make a mistake? I think it is sonnet 19. Yeah, sonnet 19. And Paradise Lost is in blank verse, divided into verse paragraphs, printed in 1667 with explanatory notes. And the subject is fall of man. He invokes muses 4 times in book 1, 3, 7, and 9. In books 1, 3, 7, and 9, he invokes the muses. Ade, Sugha, Gauri, everybody, welcome. Good evening. I am not wasting time because there is a lot to cover. Already we lost 1 or 2 weeks because I was absent. And now we have so much to cover. We have to cover poetry, drama, prose, fiction, prose, short story I will do. And then our research methods, linguistics, all that is there, culture studies. So much is there. I will do extra sessions also towards the exam. So I am not wasting time for small talk. Okay. Right. So I have some questions here which have details of all these texts. Remember, in the exam, they will surely test whether one or two, a few things are there. One, they will surely test whether you have actually read these books. Actual reading of the books, the beginning of the book, looking at the structure of the book, all these things are very important. Second thing that is important is they will check whether you have analytical skills, whether you are thinking and whether you have social background knowledge, whether you are thinking about what you've read, that they will definitely check. Then thirdly, they will check whether you have knowledge of theory and contemporary scholarship. So that is also very, very important. Easiest thing for us to get marks is to read the books. If you read the books itself, you will definitely get 60%. Did you understand? Read the books is the easiest thing, because what are the canons and classics, definitely from many of the major books that are prescribed, they will ask questions. That is the easiest way to get marks. Even though it is a lot, you should do it. Don't take it for granted. Milton wrote in grand style. He was a poet of the sublime. Which books do you want me to repeat, Suchitra? Milton's books. I don't want to do a lot of repetition, because which books means? In YouTube also they are asking. Oh, invocation. Milton's Paradise Lost invokes the muses in book 1, 3, 7, and 9. Books 1, 3, 7, and 9. No, it is not 3. It is definitely 4. In book 1, he invokes heavenly muse. In book 3, he invokes holy light. In book 7, he invokes Urania. In book 9 also Urania at the beginning. If you have any doubt like this, how many books, etc., don't ask anybody. Don't look at Paradise Lost. That is how I have made the material. Go to the original text and look at only the beginning of the books you need to look at. Beginning of the books and the summaries. Also, if you have any confusion, if you read, you will get it. Original books you should check always. Then there will be no confusion. Okay. Now, it was William Blake who said Milton was the devil's party without knowing it in The Marriage of Heaven and Hell, 1790. Wordsworth says, Milton, thou shouldest be living at this hour in London, 1802. Remember to read all these. They are very, very important. T.S. Eliot was critical of Milton. He said Milton did more problem. Exactly, that is not what he said. Milton created more problem, or Milton was a worse influence than Ryden and Pope, he said. He did not appreciate Milton's grand style. To some extent, F.R. Lewis appreciated Milton. And it was Stanley Fish who wrote Surprised by Sin, the Reader in Paradise Lost. Did you understand? And Milton's grand style is a book by Christopher Ricks. Milton's contemporaries are prose writers, Sir Thomas Browne, Thomas Browne, who wrote Religio Medici, Pseudodoxia Epidemica or Vulgar Errors, The Garden of Cyrus, Hydriotaphia or Urn Burial. Some of these have Baroque elements. Milton's grand style also is closest to Baroque. Then Thomas Fuller wrote History of the Worthies of England. Richard Hooker wrote Of the Laws of Ecclesiastical Polity. Then Jeremy Taylor wrote Sermons and Holy Living and Holy Dying. Isaac Walton wrote The Complete Angler, as well as biographies of John Donne, George Herbert, Henry Wotton, and Richard Hooker. John Donne, George Herbert, Henry Wotton, and Richard Hooker. Then there was Thomas Hobbes, who wrote Leviathan. Milton's contemporaries also include the metaphysical poets. The metaphysical poets, we have already talked about them. Marvell and Cowley. Then the religious metaphysicals, the Cavaliers also. Cavaliers are Herrick and Carew. The religious metaphysicals are Herbert, Crashaw, Vaughan, and Traherne. Then there was John Cleveland. I'm just reminding you all these things. Many things we already talked about. Let me just go on to the questions. Many of you are waiting for the questions. Which critic said that Milton certainly did more harm than Ryden and Pope? Remember, just now I said. Chat box mein likho. YouTubers, Milton certainly did more harm than Ryden and Pope. Poor Milton. It is T.S. Eliot. Yes, it is indeed T.S. Eliot who said that Milton, poor Milton, did certainly more harm than Ryden and Pope. Okay, which of the following denotes the first digression in Lycidas? Fame is the spur that the clear spirit doth raise. Blind mouths that scares themselves know not, how to hold a sheep hook. What could the muse herself that Orpheus bore? First digression in Lycidas is, YouTubers, you are right about T.S. Eliot. Fame. On fame is the first digression. Second digression is St. Peter attacking the corrupt clergy. Will you remember, everyone? The first digression in Lycidas is the digression on fame. Fame is the spur that the clear spirit doth raise. And after that, it also says, fame is no plant that grows on mortal soil. Will you remember? Fame is no plant that grows on mortal soil. Then St. Peter is attacking the corrupt clergy, warning them that there will be the two-handed engine that attacks them. There he says, blind mouths that scares themselves know how to hold a sheep hook. That is a second digression. What could the muse herself? He's talking about Calliope. Calliope is the muse of epic poetry. Even Calliope could not save her son Orpheus. That comes before the digression. Will you remember, everyone? So that is it then. Which of these is not a line from Lycidas? YouTubers, Zoomers are saying the correct answers. Look homeward, angel is a famous line from Lycidas. I come to pluck your berries, harsh and crude. He's talking to the muse. He's talking about writing poetry, both in Lycidas. Awake, arise, or be forever fallen. That is from Paradise Lost. It is from Paradise Lost. Awake, arise, or forever, or be forever fallen. मैं हाथ जोड़ के बोलती हूँ, please every day at least for half an hour look at important quotations at least from major texts. Paradise Lost important quotations, Paradise Lost book 1 important quotation, book 3 important quotation. At least like that you should read the beginning of Paradise Lost of every book. And where are you paying attention, Geojoy? I won't tell you the answer. I already told the answer and now you're asking answer. Then look up the excerpts of major big poems and small poems. Read every day for half an hour, because reading on your own, looking up the excerpts and quotations will immensely help you. Okay, poor Geojoy did not pay attention. I will tell her again. Look homeward, angel is a famous line from at the end. Oh, network, no problem. At the end, he's saying in Lycidas, he's hopeful, he is going and towards the morrow, towards the next day, he is going. Tomorrow to fresh woods and pastures new. So that section begins with look homeward, angel. And earlier, he says, muses, please inspire me because I come to pluck your berries, harsh and crude. And then the third one, awake, arise, or be forever fallen. It is from Paradise Lost. All right, please read, okay? Which of these is not a poem by Milton? Actually, in the exam, there will be a very obscure poem given, one of the sonnets or something, and you will get confused. Don't immediately click what you don't know. Think again. Remember, Of Education is not a poem. Of Education is a prose work. Okay? On Shakespeare is a poem. On his being arrived to the age of 23 is also a poem by Milton. Of Education is not a poem, it is a prose work. Remember? And Of Education was addressed to Samuel Hartlib, the educationist. Samuel Hartlib. Karnataka notification aaya kya? If the notification comes, I'm thinking of starting. Because all the material, everything is ready. People are also ready actually. But I want the notification to come. Okay. Where does Milton say the professed, listen carefully. Where does Milton say that the professed aim of Paradise Lost is to justify the ways of God to men? Always we knew he said this, that it is the professed aim. Where does he say? Is it in the argument at the beginning of book 1? Is it in the notes of Paradise Lost? Is it in book 1 within the text? People are talking about Geojoy in YouTube. Geojoy went to Venus and he is not on Earth, it seems. Did you see that, Geojoy? Arre. All of you are copy pasting, eh? Ding, ding, ding. It is written within the text. In book 1, this is why I'm saying look at book 1. Look at it, because at the end of one verse, paragraph, last line is to justify the ways of God to men. Arey, you are not butt of ridicule, you are the heroine. Why should you be butt of ridicule? You are the heroine. I love you. You will, your fate is changing. You are holding my hand, Geojoy. Nothing will happen. Everything will change. I have held you with both my hands. Listen, everybody. Today itself, you look at the at Paradise Lost. Okay, don't read. At least look at it. There is an argument at the beginning of every book. Okay. Paradise Lost has an argument at the beginning of every book. And notes also are there. But in the verse paragraph at the end of the last line of a verse paragraph is actually one verse paragraph is to justify the ways of God to men. To justify the ways of God to men. That is the professed aim. Geojoy, I think, is a woman. I don't think it is a man. I've been talking to Geojoy thinking Geojoy is a woman. Okay. All right, guys, next one. Which of these ways, in which of these ways did Milton reorganize Paradise Lost into 12 books? Always we knew that Paradise Lost had 12 books. But how did he make it? Did he split books 9 and 10 into 2 parts? Or did he split 7 and 10 into 2 parts? Or did he split 4 and 7 into 2 parts? Did he split 9 and 10 into 2 parts? Did he split 7 and 10 into 2 parts? Did he split 4 and 7 into 2 parts? Most of you are saying A because, okay, last 2 books, he must have split into 2 parts. That is wrong. Remember, that is wrong. It is not 9 and 10. It is, no problem. Even if you went wrong, now you will remember. It is 7 and 10. Milton split books 7 and 10 into 2 parts. Remember? It's okay. You should have the right approach. When you make a mistake, it doesn't mean you are ignorant, you have lost everything. When you make a mistake, wow, that is a stepping stone to success. Now I know so much more. Like that positive attitude only you should have. Remember, books 5, 6, 7, and 8. 4 books are there where Raphael is talking to Adam. Raphael is explaining how things came into being, how everything was made. Do you remember? And Adam is asking questions. Some of these questions Raphael cannot answer. One of those books, 7th book, he split into 2 parts. So books 7 and 10 were split into 2 parts. Will you remember now? This is not William Blake, but ऐसा एक दूसरा है William Blake का. It is Satan. Of course. William Blake, a painting, it's coming. This is William Blake. This painting is William Blake. Satan, famous painting by William Blake. No, this is not William Blake. William Blake ek dusra hai. I don't know actually, sorry. This is a famous painting by a French or some European guy. European. Sorry. It is European. Now, who among the following is not a character in Paradise Lost? Tell me this answer. You know, long poems like Paradise Lost, if you don't read completely, okay, but read little detailed summary. Look at not only the summary, look at themes, characters. Please do that from now on. They are very important. Alternate ways of understanding text. People, please remember, Satan's daughter is sin. And Satan had a child by sin. Satan in his daughter had a child, and that child is death. Sin and death are very important characters in Paradise Lost. Sin and death are very important characters in Paradise Lost. Chaos is also a character. I put vice because vice is not there in Paradise Lost. Vice is from morality place. Vice is always a character in morality place. Sin, night, death, chaos, they are all characters in Paradise Lost. Again, I'm reminding you, will you please always look up characters of important works, excerpts from important works, themes from important works. Also, if possible, detailed summaries. Please read, okay? You know, one and only reason why people are not passing is because they have not studied properly. They have not studied properly. That is why they are not passing. Don't blame anybody or anything. Just sit and study properly, okay? Today itself, read extra. Look up the characters. There are so many websites where they are discussed. Sin, death, night, chaos. Also, other characters like Uriel, Beelzebub, Malsibar, all those characters, please read about. Will you? Today itself. Virtue and vice, correct, Atulya? They are in morality place. Okay, and vice was the most important character in morality place because vice needed a very brilliant actor. Vice needed a very brilliant actor, and only the best actors acted as vice. Did you understand? If you are studying this and that unnecessarily, memorizing questions only, then no wonder you don't pass. You have to study all the major texts in detail. All the major texts in detail, all the major works in detail, major authors in detail. Then you will easily pass. It will take a little time, but that is the method to pass. If you memorize even 20,000 questions, what is the use if they don't ask from those questions? Studying questions is not the way. You have to study books in detail. Look at detailed summaries, but it will be difficult to remember. Look up the characters, their descriptions, look up the themes, look at the, what is it called? Motives, all that. And then read summaries also. Okay? Promise me. Solitude sometimes is best society. I put the picture, wrong picture. I'm so sorry. Misleading picture I put. Now everybody will say Satan. Sure, I'm so sorry. Now everybody will say Satan. Please say the correct answer. I'm so sorry I put the wrong picture. Now tell me the answer. You are all such gullible people. अरे कोई तो Satan बोलो. You are all such innocent children. Children are not innocent. They will not believe me if I say this. If I told children, if I told children, then every child will write only Satan. It is Satan. You know, Satan in book 9, very important. Satan in book 9 is coming to tempt Adam and Eve, and he is sad that his father, whom he used to love so much, he was the best beloved son, and he used to love his father so much. And that God, he made another son and gave the best Eden to Adam. He just insulted Satan. Satan is feeling so sad. And then all this happened. War happened. He was expelled from Eden. He is so sad. And there is a heart-rending speech. There is a very sad, heart-rending speech in book 9 about Satan. He is remembering how he lost everything. He was the best creation. He was the best son of God. And now this has happened. And his heart ripped apart. He says, solitude sometimes is the best society. Satan is thinking, why did all this happen? Why did I lose my central position in heaven? I don't have any friends. Everything is gone. Did you understand? Solitude sometimes is the best society, says Satan. Okay? Yeah, I understood, Saima. That is why I put Eve. Who of the following is Samson's father who has come to visit him in prison? You know, Samson Agonistes is full of his monologues and dialogues with people who come to visit him. Samson Agonistus is full of monologues and dialogues of Samson with people who come to visit him. And it is a drama, it's a poetic drama, it's a verse drama modeled on Greek tragedy. It is a closet drama. Samson's father who comes to visit him is Manoah. Manoah, okay? Don't forget. No light, but rather darkness visible, served only to discover sights of woe. These are lines from Paradise Lost. Who is the author of the novel Darkness Visible? No light, but rather darkness visible. I said this in Unacademy YouTube live, I think. Somewhere I taught this. Where did I teach? I don't remember. Darkness Visible is a novel by YouTubers. Zoomers are all saying correct answer. Some of them are saying wrong answer. It is William Golding. Darkness Visible is about the Blitzkrieg or the bombing of London during the Second World War. The bombing of London happened during the Second World War. It is called Blitzkrieg, and Darkness Visible is about it. Where did I teach? It was in Unacademy Special or Unacademy YouTube Live. Somewhere I taught this. The poems, or is it here in our, no, not here. Our Golding wrote first Lord of the Flies. Then he wrote Inheritors. Then Pincher Martin, Free Fall, Spire, Scorpion God, 3 novels and novellas. Spire, Pyramid. After Spire, it is Pyramid. Then Scorpion God. It was an MCQ course in Unacademy. We made a story out of it. First, Lord of the Flies, then Inheritors. Then Pincher Martin, about a man who is trying to swim ashore, but it actually is his delusion before he dies. Pincher Martin, then Free Fall, then the Spire, which is about a church with a spire, then the Pyramid, then Scorpion God. Pyramid and Scorpion God have 3 novellas. Then after Scorpion God, there is Darkness Visible. Scorpion comes in darkness. Darkness Visible. Darkness Visible is about Blitzkrieg. After Darkness Visible, there is Paperman. It is about a man, a writer and his biographer. A writer and his biographer. Paperman. After Paperman, there is To the Ends of the Earth trilogy or Sea trilogy. Then after that, there is one more is there. What was it? Double Tongue. Double Tongue. C. Double Tongue. Double Tongue is about a prophetess. Okay. This is how. This is the chronological list of William Golding's novels. Then you should sit and study. I studied only one time. I will always remember because I'm also revising. Next, in Surprised by Sin, Stanley Fish suggested that the subject of Milton's Paradise Lost is dash. Tell me. In Surprised by Sin, Stanley Fish suggested that the subject of Milton's Paradise Lost is the reader. The reader is the subject of Paradise Lost. Correct. This is our complete course in our Unacademy. Will you please remember that these have absolutely awesome materials and everything. And this is our MCQ course in Unacademy. All this is going on. If you come and join us, you will get all the materials and everything. And this is in our Unacademy special. Tomorrow at 7 p.m. it is there. Please come and join. Okay, it is free class only. Tomorrow at 7 p.m. Tomorrow at 7 p.m. Unacademy special. Download Karo app and please join us. Okay. And it is free because I'm teaching important literary terms in a very detailed manner. And there is going to be a price hike. So if you join now, you can save some money. John Ryden next. We will just quickly look at John Ryden, and then we will go on to do questions about John Ryden. Heroic stanzas on the death of Oliver Cromwell was Dryden's first poem, followed by Astrea Redux 1660, based on Astrea Redux is based on restoration. Astrea Redux means justice restored. Annus Mirabilis is about the year 1666. And it was a year of great calamities, but even greater calamities were not there. Did you understand, everyone? Then Dryden wrote after this drama. Dryden's drama started from the Wild Gallant, the Indian Emperor, then the Conquest of Granada, Tyrannic Love, then Marriage a la Mode, Aurangzeb, so many heroic plays Dryden wrote. And after that came his period of satires, Absalom and Achitophel, The Medal, and Macflecknoe. At the same time, he also wrote Religio Laici and The Hind and the Panther. These two are allegories about religion. Absalom and Achitophel is about exclusion crisis. Remember, exclusion crisis. Absalom and Achitophel is the story of King David, who is Old Testament king. He represents our Charles II. And David's son Absalom is rebelling against him with the help of Achitophel. That means Charles's son, Duke of Monmouth, is rebelling against him with the help of Shaftesbury, Earl of Shaftesbury. Absalom is Duke of Monmouth, Achitophel is Earl of Shaftesbury. And then he attacked Earl of Shaftesbury in the Medal. The Medal has a preface called, or prologue called, prologue to the Whigs. Dryden is a Tory and he is writing a prologue to the Whigs at the beginning, to which Shadwell replied with the Medal of John Base. He is attacking Dryden. Not prologue, it is epistle to the Whigs. Correct, Geojoy. And Shadwell wrote an epistle to the Tories at the beginning of Medal of John Base, attacking Dryden. Then Dryden replied with Macflecknoe. Macflecknoe devastated Shadwell, okay, as the son of the poor poet, the bad poet Flecknoe. And he is crowned as the king of the bad poets. Religio Laici supports Anglicanism. Then he converted to Catholicism and wrote The Hind and the Panther. The Hind and the Panther is written as a beast fable, and many people attacked it. He also wrote Pindaric odes like Song for Saint Cecilia's Day and Alexander's Feast. These are variations of the Pindaric ode. Did you understand? Song for Saint Cecilia's Day and Alexander's Feast are both written for Saint Cecilia. They are variations of the Pindaric ode. Will you remember? Dryden also wrote a lot of prose. I did not mention that here because this is poetry. Dryden's prose includes essay of dramatic poesy, preface to the fables, very important critical works. And preface to the fables is the prologue to or preface to fables, ancient and modern, which are his translations of Ovid, Boccaccio, Chaucer, etc. Okay, ready for questions now? About whom did Dryden say, I hold him in the same degree of veneration as the Grecians held Homer or the Romans Virgil? Correct. Zoomers, YouTubers bolo. Yes, Mridul, you are right. It is because Andrew Marvell wrote Flecknoe that Dryden wrote Macflecknoe, because everybody knew and everybody laughed. YouTubers are going wrong. Zoomers are correct. In preface to preface to the fables, he praises Chaucer, calls Chaucer the father of English poetry. And he says, because he is the father of English poetry, I hold him in the same degree of veneration as the Grecians held Homer or the Romans Virgil. And he says, Chaucer is a well of English undefiled. That is right, Geojoy. He's talking about Chaucer. I hold him in the same degree of veneration as the Grecians held Homer or Romans Virgil. He's saying this in preface to the fables. Okay, next. Who of the following defined a play thus? A just and lively image of human nature, representing its passions and humors and the changes of fortune to which it is subject for the delight and instruction of mankind. It is, many of you are wrong, some of you are right. It is Lycidius in off-dramatic poesy. In off-dramatic poesy, Lycidius, the supporter of French, defined a play as a just and lively image of human nature, representing its passions and humors and the changes of fortunes to which it is subject for the delight and instruction of mankind. Don't forget, this is what shall I do? It is Lycidius in off-dramatic poesy. Whom did Ryden describe thus? For close designs and crooked counsels fit, sagacious, bold, and turbulent of wit. Whom did Ryden describe thus? For close designs and crooked counsels fit, sagacious, bold, and turbulent of wit. It is the Chaucer is the well of English undefiled is said by Spencer. Oh, correct. Subreen is pointing it out. Yeah, correct. It is not he who said it. It is our Spencer, correct. In Fairy Queen, I think. Correct. Thank you for pointing it out. I will tell you Horatian and Juvenalian. First, tell me this. It is Shaftesbury. This is the famous description of Shaftesbury. Great wits are sure to madness near allied. Remember? Shaftesbury is described by Ryden. Oh my God, in Absalom and Achitophel. You should read it. You should read it. It is such a severe attack on Shaftesbury. For close designs and crooked counsels, wit, sagacious, bold, and turbulent of wit. This is from Absalom and Achitophel. Did you understand? Are kitni bar bolu Geojoy, he is quarreling with Shaftesbury because Shaftesbury is Whig. Dryden is Tory. Shaftesbury wants Duke of Monmouth to be king, but Dryden wants James II to be king. There were political, religious, all kinds of reasons. And Juvenalian and Horatian satire. Horatian satirist laughs at people for their follies. Juvenalian satirist attacks people for their follies. The Juvenalian satirist is indignant. He speaks in a public style, attacking people, individuals. But Horatian satirist does not attack. He laughs at people for their folly. Horatian satire examples are Pope's moral essays, then Essay on Man. Juvenalian satires are, Dryden satires, Swift satires, but Dryden is saying, this is not Juvenalian satire. I am not attacking anybody. This is Menippean satire. I am actually attacking attitudes. I'm not attacking people. Dryden is actually making fun. Dryden is actually writing satires, attacking people, and he is saying, no, this is Menippean satire only. Menippean satire means attacking mental attitudes, not people. Did you understand? They are Juvenalian satires. Dryden's satires are Juvenalian, but he's simply saying they are Menippean. Clear, everyone? Next. There stood of yore and Barbican in its height, a watchtower once, but now so fate ordains, of all the pile, an empty name remains. What does of yore mean? Ryden set Macflecknoe in Augusta. Augusta means London. And in Augusta, there is a place where very vulgar things are happening. That is Barbican. That is where the coronation is happening. Of yore means what? Of yore means of ancient times. Of yore, not only here, in poetry, everywhere. Of yore means of ancient times. Okay? About whom did Ryden say, beware the fury of a patient man? Yonder means beyond. Nigh means near. Beware the fury of a patient man. It is David representing Charles II. Charles II or David has not been saying anything. Achitophel and Absalom are doing so many bad things, but David or Charles didn't say anything. And Ryden is saying, beware the fury of a patient man. Abhi to kuch nahi bol raha, because he is patient, but he will strike. Beware. That is the meaning. Will you remember? He is praising David or Charles. Then, and he who writes honestly is no more an enemy to the offender than the physician to the patient when he prescribes harsh remedies to an inveterate disease. Ryden is saying that he who writes honestly is like a physician who is prescribing harsh medicines for diseases. What is he talking about? Is he talking about criticism, satire, or allegory? Is he talking about criticism, satire, or allegory? And he who writes honestly is no more enemy to the offender. If Pope said it, you can say criticism, because he was actually criticizing people. Dryden did not criticize like that anybody. He only wrote about ancient writers. He will not say this about criticism. It is about satire. He is saying this about satire. But Pope criticized individuals. Did you understand? It is satire. Ryden says that satire is correction of manners. This is related to Dryden's point. Dryden's statement that satire means correction of manners. Satire is aimed at correcting people, correcting their mistakes. Did you understand? He who writes honestly is like a physician to the patient when he prescribes harsh remedies. Did you get it clear? Are you liking the questions? Is it helping you? Tell me. Taking a drama marathon also I will take. Like this, Hannah, I will. From hence. Okay, thank you. Listen to this now. From hence began that plot, the nation's curse. What is... I selected these pictures. Who else? My work it is. Yesterday I slept at 6 a.m. because I was making all this. It is referring to what? From hence began that plot, the nation's curse. What is Ryden referring to in Absalom and Achitophel? It is, even though Absalom and Achitophel is about the Monmouth plot, here he is referring to Popish plot. And the picture refers to the 5 Jesuits who were hanged after the Popish plot. 5 Jesuits were hanged after the Popish plot. That is the picture I have put. Clear? Because I put this picture because I wanted you to know. I am also learning. When I do research and find pictures, I'm learning. Okay. Absalom and Achitophel is about Monmouth rebellion, but after this only Monmouth rebellion actually came. From hence began that popish plot. He's talking about popish plot. Titus Oates is the man in popish plot. Titus Oates. Ryden calls him monumental brass. Will you remember? 5 Jesuits were hanged as a result of popish plot. Next, resolved to ruin or to rule the state. What does it say about Achitophel? He did listen very carefully and write the answer, because there are confusing answers I've given. All are correct, but one is more correct. He didn't care about the country. He's power hungry. He's driven by self-interest. Clearly read. Resolved to ruin or to rule the state. I have not left an academy. Why? I have a contract with them for 6 months. I'm teaching there. You should join an academy for 6 months while I'm there. Because then all my PPTs, everything will start. Are modern poets are na? After this, modern poets will come. I will not say A, B, or C is wrong. All are correct. All are correct. But my answer is C. Because resolved to ruin. First he has said ruin. After that only rule he has said. Shaftesbury is not about, his interest is not in ruling. His interest is, he doesn't care for anything but himself. He doesn't care about the country. He cares only for himself. He doesn't care about the country is correct. He is power hungry is correct. But even more than that, he is driven by self-interest. Because he loves only himself. He doesn't care about anything. The other two are there in C. A and B are there in C. That is why I choose C. I made it. Did you understand? A doesn't contain C. B doesn't contain C. But A and B are there in C. He is driven by self-interest, resolved to ruin or to rule the state. Did you understand? I just made it up. If you say all the above, also correct. But sometimes in net and all, they will ask very hair splitting kind of questions like this. So I thought I will just write one like that. Ryden's The State of Innocence, Albion, and King Arthur are all dash. Ryden's The State of Innocence, Albion, and Albanius, and King Arthur. All of them are they are operas. State of Innocence is an opera based on Paradise Lost. Albion and Albanius is one book. It is opera. King Arthur or the British Worthy is an opera based on Arthurian legends. Don't forget, okay? Next. Augustine Poetry. Just a quick overview. Cultural importance of poetry. Poetry was very important at that time. Genres were pastoral, town eclogues. Pastorals written by Pope. Town eclogues written by Lady Mary Wortley Montague. Verse epistles were there. Odes were there. Mock epic, sonnets, ballads, poetic diction was important. Heroic couplet was important. Are Khalid, I already explained Horatian and Juvenalian. What were you doing at that time? I explained already. You didn't listen. It, makes me angry when I see you don't pay attention. Watch the video again, okay? Yes, Sabrine, thank you. Khalid, I already explained. 3 things I explained: Horatian, Juvenalian, and Menippean. Horatian laughs at people. Juvenalian attacks people. Menupian is about attitudes. For God's sake, pay attention. Alexander Pope first wrote Pastoral 1709. It was published in 1709, but it was written before that. Essay on Criticism came in 1711. Then came Rape of the Lock in 2 cantos in 1712. After that came in 5 cantos. In between came Windsor Forest, 1713. He made translations of Homer, collected works. Edition of Shakespeare came in 1725. Edition of Shakespeare was faulty. Louis Theobald attacked Alexander Pope. Louis Theobald attacked Alexander Pope in Shakespeare Restored. Then Alexander Pope attacked Louis Theobald in Dunciad first edition. Then after that, Dunciad came into several other editions. Then Peribathos is about bad writing. Peribathos, he wrote about bad writing. After that, it is a reply to Perihupsis or On the Sublime. On the Sublime is about Longinus's art of elevated writing. On the Sublime is about elevated writing, and against it, he wrote Peribathos. Then came his greatest works, Perihupsis, Huoypsus, something like that. Essay on Man, Dunciad, and Moral Essays. These are important works. Essay on Man, the Dunciad. Dunciad first appeared in 3 parts, attacking Louis Theobald. Then, Essay on Man is a poem, of course. Dunciad then appeared in 4 books, attacking Colley Cibber. Moral essays or moral ethics are also important. Essay on Man was addressed to Bolingbroke. Moral essays was inspired by Bolingbroke but addressed to several persons. After that, Pope wrote Imitations of Horace and Epistle to Dr. Arbuthnot. Epistle to Dr. Arbuthnot was addressed to Dr. John Arbuthnot, his dying physician. And then he attacked Atticus, Addison as Atticus, and Lord Hervey as Sporus here. Addison as Atticus and Hervey as Sporus. Pope's pastorals were written when he was dash. Bolo. Pope's pastorals was written, it was published when he was 19. So he can't write it when he is 20. I told you, it was published when he was 19, but he wrote it even before that. Did you understand? Pastorals was written even before that, when he was only 16 years old. He was a child prodigy. Pastorals was written when he was only 16 years old. My quizzes here, what we are doing here is not to test your ignorance. Don't take it like that. I am only giving you opportunities to learn. This is only learning. It is not exam. So Pope's pastorals was written when he was 16. Those rules of old discovered, not devised, are nature still, but nature methodized. These lines mean, read carefully. Read carefully. 14 or 16. There is no clear historical evidence for it. It could be 14 also, but generally I think it is considered 16. Read carefully. Those rules of old discovered, not devised. Ancient rules or old rules. What are we doing? We are discovering them. We are not devising them. We are not making them. We are discovering them. They're already there. And what are they? These old rules are nature still, but nature methodized. Are nature still, Old classical rules are nature only, but nature methodized. That last part is what you should focus on. Then only you will get the answer. They are nature only, old rules, but nature methodized. But nature methodized means nature as such is not, nature doesn't have a method. Nature is random. But when you put nature into a method, then you get the classical rules. Classical rules of criticism are derived from nature is correct. A is correct, but A is not the answer because C is the answer. Classical rules are nature or natural, but more ordered. Classical rules are nature only, but more ordered. Nature is not so ordered. Nature lacks order. When you take nature and put some order into it, then you get classical rules. Are you getting me? Classical rules are natural, but more ordered than nature. Did you understand, everyone? It is from Essay on Criticism, of course. Very famous lines from Essay on Criticism. Those rules of old discovered, not devised, are nature still, but nature methodized. Nature and classical rules both have the same order is not correct. Nature doesn't have order, only classical rules have order. Nature you should take, then add some order to it or method to it, then you get classical rules. Clear? Which of these poems is set on Lord Mayor's Day? Which of these poems is set on a Lord Mayor's Day? Answer. Kuch bhi bolo. If you go wrong also, no problem. Which of these poems is set on Lord Mayor's Day? It is Dunciad. Dunciad, 3 parts and 4 parts, both are set on Lord Mayor's Day. Remember that, okay? This is how you should remember. Lord Mayor's Day is the setting of Dunciad. How do I know? Because I read about it. That is how I know. Okay, if you read, you will also know. Dunciad is set on Lord Mayor's Day. Both 3-part Dunciad and 4-part Dunciad both. Clarissa's speech in The Rape of the Lock wants society to give importance to dash of women. In Rape of the Lock, Clarissa's speech was added in 1717. Remember? Clarissa's speech was added in 1717. Clarissa complains that society that gives so much importance to beauty Lord Mayor's Day is the day of the Lord Mayor of London. Lord Mayor of London's day. Society that gives so much importance to women's beauty is not caring for good sense and humor. It is B, answer. Clarissa wants the society to give importance to good sense and humor of women, not only beauty. Good sense and humor is the words, good sense and good humor. Those are the words that she has used. Good. Remember, I'm not testing your, she has put a laptop on her table, see? Tablet. It is iPad, I think. So Clarissa is saying that society who gives importance to, that gives importance to women's beauty should also, this is 18th century, there is no iPad. should also give importance to good sense and good humor. Don't forget, good sense and good humor. Next, Pope's ethical essay on the characters of women. What is the meaning of Pope's ethical essay? Ethical essay means moral essay it is. It is moral essay. Pope's moral essay on the characters of women is addressed to whom? Without reading also you will answer. No, you are wrong. Moral essays is addressed to Cobham. First is to Cobham. Cobham is addressed, to Cobham he has talked about characters of men. Second is to a lady. It is said to be Martha Blount. Both Martha Blount and Lady Mary Wortley Montague were friends of Pope. Both Martha Blount and Lady Mary Wortley Montague were friends of Pope. I found online that it is Martha Blount who is the lady. First moral essay is addressed to Cobham, to Cobham, Cobham. Cobham is, to Cobham he is talking about characters of men. Then to a lady, he is addressing to a lady, second moral essay. To her, he is talking about characters of women. And that lady is Martha Blount. She was also Pope's friend, it seems. Martha Blount, then Lady Mary Wortley Montague, they were both friends of Pope. Hannah More is part of Blues Talking Women. Martha Blount is the answer, remember that. Look up also, I found in some website, it is Martha Blount. Happy the man whose wish and care, a few paternal acres bound, content to breathe his native air in his own ground. These lines are from Dash, written when Pope was only 12 years old. Ode on solitude, ode to solitude, to solitude. Bolo. The moral essays are addressed to Cobham, to a lady, to Bathurst, and to the Earl of Burlington. To Bathurst, third one. Fourth one is Earl of Burlington. It is Ode on Solitude. Answer is Ode on Solitude. Moral essays is addressed to, sorry, not moral essays. What am I saying? These lines are from Pope's Ode on Solitude. Okay, next. Ready for next? Whom have I heard? Has poet yet or peer lost the arched eyebrow or Parnassian sneer? Here, Parnassian refers to, what is Parnassian? Parnassus. These things you should know. What is Parnassian or Parnassus? I will punch you in the nose. All of you are going to get punched in the nose except Shailesh. Parnassus is the mountain which is the seat of the muses. Parnassus is the mountain which is the seat of the muses. Parnassian sneer means excellent poetry. Did you understand? Parnassian means the seat of the muses. Remember? Next encyclopedia, fourth one is European literature. Got it? Then. Oh, other poets I'm going to ask about. Jonathan Swift, Lady Mary Wortley Montague, Samuel Johnson, Anne Finch, Matthew Prior, John Gay, transitional poets. Ready, guys? Ta-da-dang. Which of these is not a poem by Jonathan Swift? Today, so many questions. I'm going to teach till 11:30. Poems by Jonathan Swift. Rural Sports is by John Gay. The Ladies' Dressing Room, A Beautiful Young Nymph Going to Bed. These are both by Jonathan Swift. How do I know? Because I looked up. Poems by Jonathan Swift, I looked up. That is how I know. Rural Sports is by John Gay. Rural Sports, Shepherd's Week, Trivia or the Art of Walking the Streets of London. These are poems by John Gay. Rural Sports, Shepherd's Week, Trivia or the Art of Walking the Streets of London. Jonathan Swift has written Description of the Morning, Description of a City Shower, Bee's Confession, The Ladies' Dressing Room, A Beautiful Young Nymph Going to Bed, Verses on the Death of Dr. Swift. Will you remember? Okay, next. Which of these poems is based on, listen, read carefully. This is easy. You will be able to guess. Which of these poems is based on a Latin work that describes Ambrosius leaving Rome to live in Cumae in order to escape from the vices and dangers of Rome? Easy, easy, easy. Which of these poems? Is it London? Is it Vanity of Human Wishes? Is it Shepherd's Week? Bolo, bolo. Yesterday I slept at 6 a.m. Which of these poems is based on a Latin work? Obviously by Juvenal. Arre nahi yaar. It should be London, because the poem, the original poem by Juvenal is based on Rome. Ambrosius is leaving Rome to live in Cumae. Like that in London, what is happening? Thales is leaving London to live in Wales. Remember, Thales is leaving London to live in Wales. Thales is going to Wales. Remember, London. Based on the third satire of Juvenal. The third satire of Juvenal, yes, option A is correct. London by Johnson. Vanity of Human Wishes is not about anybody leaving London. Ambrosius is leaving Rome in third satire of Juvenal. In London by Johnson, Thales is leaving Wales. Will you remember, guys? Wasn't it easy? In London, Thales is leaving London to go to Wales. Why did Matthew Prior ridicule Dryden's The Hind and the Panther? Because Dryden converted to Catholicism. Because in Dryden's work, animals debate theology. Because Ryden was a Tory. Ryden wrote The Hind and the Panther. Matthew Prior wrote The Country Mouse and the City Mouse. Matthew Prior wrote The Country Mouse and the City Mouse. Laksha, who is just a little girl who is listening to us, is answering correctly because she is thinking in a simple manner. All the graduates and postgraduates are thinking too much. Answer is B. Because animals are debating theology in Hind and the Panther. That is why Matthew Prior wrote Country Mouse and City Mouse, where they are also debating. How can animals debate theology? What will animals know? Think simply, don't think so much. Did you understand? Matthew Prior wrote The Country Mouse and the City Mouse against Dryden's The Hind and the Panther. Because in Dryden's work, artificially, animals are talking about very big religious issues. Simple. Now, when bees could speak, the learned say, they still can do so every day. It seems they had religion then, as much as now we find in men. Which poem is this? When bees could speak, the learned say they still can do so every day. It seems they had religion then as much as now we find in men. There was as much religion in men. Because of there is a shelf in the picture, why should you say Battle of the Books? It is the Bee's Confession by Jonathan Swift. The Bee's Confession by Jonathan Swift begins like this. Jonathan Swift wrote the Bee's Confession to the priest. The Bee's Confession to the priest. It begins like this. When bees could speak, the learned say they still can do so every day. It seemed they had religion then. Bees had religion. As much men have religion now, it seems. Now, when he can in one couplet fix, more sense I can do in six. It gives me such a jealous fit. I cry, pox take him and his wit. About whom? Wrong question, wrong question, wrong question. Wrong question, no problem. I will correct it now. About whom did Swift write this? About whom did Swift write this? Arey sab karenge Shakespeare. When he can in one couplet fix more sense than I can do in six. It gives me such a jealous fit. I cry, pox take him and his wit. About whom did Swift write this? It is Alexander Pope. Romantic revival. Are you ready? I have questions for so many today. 11:30. Okay. I'm not teaching. We'll just do the questions. Ta-da-dang. Romantic revival. Features of romanticism. Emphasis on imagination, free play of emotions and passions, proximity to the everyday life, inspiration sought from country life, subjectivity, turned to medieval age. All right. Easy hoga. Let us see. John Dyer, James Thompson, Oliver Goldsmith, Graveyard Poets, Parnell's Night Piece on Death, Robert Blair's The Grave, Edward Young's Complaint or Night Thoughts. Then James Hervey's Meditations Among the Tombs, Thomas Gray's Elegy written in a country churchyard. Ta-dang! Question. How many, this is easy. How many stanzas are there in the epitaph at the end of Gray's Elegy? How many stanzas are there in the epitaph at the end of Gray's Elegy? At the end of Gray's Elegy, there is an epitaph, and the epitaph has, अरे सब बोलो, दो तीन बोली लोग ही बोले. It is 3 stanzas. The epitaph at the end of Gray's Elegy has 3 stanzas. Okay, difficult question now. Ready? Ta-dang. Awake, Aeolian lyre, awake, and give to rapture all thy trembling strings. Which poem begins thus? Is it Aeolian Lyre by Coleridge, Progress of Poesy by Gray, Ode on a Poetical Character by Collins? If it is Coleridge's Aeolian Lyre, will I give it this question? If it is Coleridge's Aeolian Lyre, I won't give this question. It is so direct. Aeolian Lyre means poetry, and Progress of Poesy is about poetry. So it is B. Got it, guys? Aeolian Lyre means poetry, and Progress of Poesy by Thomas Gray is about the history of poetry. It is the Progress of Poesy. Will you remember now? Then, daughter of Jove, relentless power, thou tamer of the human breast. Which poem begins thus? Is it Ode to Beauty? Sorry, Ode to Duty by Wordsworth, Ode to Melancholy by Keats, or Hymn to Diversity by Grey. Daughter of Jove, relentless power, thou tamer of the human breast. Array, at least remember we are doing transitional poets now. We are not doing Wordsworth or Keats. It is hymn to diversity. Hymn to, sorry, not diversity, adversity. Hymn to adversity has the meaning. Sweet are the uses of adversity. Remember in Shakespeare? Sweet are the uses of adversity. That same meaning this poem also has. Adversity has many advantages. And he's addressing adversity. Thomas Gray is addressing adversity and saying, daughter of Jove, relentless power. This hymn to adversity actually foreshadows ode to duty. Stern daughter of something, that is the beginning of ode to duty. Ode to duty also begins with daughter only. Similar. Hymn to adversity begins daughter of Jove. Relentless power, thou tamer of the human breast. Ode to duty begins like this. Stern daughter of the voice of God. Oh, duty. Like that. It begins. Clear? Then, which of the following is true about Edward Young's Night Thoughts? Which of the following is true about Edward Young's Night Thoughts? ABC. Yo, sorry. Which of the following is not true? Only one is wrong. Ting, 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 ting. Which of the following is not true? Abhi bolo. Edward Young's Night Thoughts, Complaints or Night Thoughts on Life, Death and Immortality. That is the full title. It was published in 9 parts or nights. Each part is called Nights. The poem is not in heroic couplets. It is in blank verse. Edward Young's Night Thoughts is in blank verse. It contains the adage, procrastination is the thief of time. That is the most famous line in Edward Young's Night Thoughts. It is in blank verse. Will you remember now? Edward Young's Night Thoughts is published in 9 parts or nights. It is in blank verse and it contains the adage, procrastination is the thief of time. Now, which of the following is true about Thomas Parnell? This is true only, not true. True only. Only one is true here. Which of the following is true? Which of the following is true? Thomas Parnell's Night Piece on Death is considered the first of the graveyard poems, not last. Thomas Parnell's Night Piece on Death is considered the first of the graveyard poems. It is not last. He was not Welsh. He was Irish. Thomas Parnell was famously Irish and he was definitely a member of the Scribblers Club. Thomas Parnell was a member of the Scribblers Club where Swift, Pope, and other Tories were members. John Gay, etc. were members. Clear? Thomas Gray next. Look at all the poems by Thomas Gray. I'm not reading. Transitional poets' names. I want to teach William Wordsworth also. Then only we will stop. William Wordsworth ka bahut sare questions hai. Achhe questions. Are you ready? No more teaching. Only questions. Ready for questions? Up, my friend, and quit your books. Which poem of Wordsworth thus prioritizes nature over books? Up, up, my friend, and quit your books. Which poem of Wordsworth thus prioritizes nature over books? It is YouTubers. The tables turned is correct. The tables turned begins like this. Please, whatever poems I have mentioned here, will you please read? They are all important. There are only some 10, 15 poems that are so important. Please read. Summary dekh lo aur uske opening and everything also dekh lo. Bas. Up, up, my friend, and quit your books. It is tables turned. Next. Wordsworth's poem, Lines Written on a Tablet in a School, was later renamed Samuel Matthew Thomas. Lines Written on a Tablet in a School. Remember, Wordsworth famously wrote, अरे वो टैबलेट नहीं है ये टैबलेट. That tablet and this tablet are two different tablets. Wordsworth wrote Matthew poems. One of the Matthew poems is Matthew. Wordsworth wrote Matthew poems. Lines Written on a Tablet in a School was later renamed Matthew. There are more than one Matthew poems prescribed in universities. Which of the following is not true about Wordsworth's character Ruth? When her mother died, her father remarried. She got married to a sailor. Her husband abandoned her when she was pregnant. It is like a feminist poem. She is a very strong woman. This is Weeping Woman by Van Gogh. Ruth, which of these is not true? When her mother died, her father remarried is correct. And he began abandoning her, ignoring her. Then she got married not to a sailor, but a soldier. In Ruth, she got married not to a sailor, but a soldier. And her husband abandoned her when she was pregnant. That is also true. Then she is ready to face everything and she is a strong woman. She is going to face death also at the end. Please read about these poems. Okay, they are all famous. They will ask. Martha Ray and Stephen Hill are characters in the poem. The Idiot Boy, The Thorn, Maternal Grief. Martha Ray and Stephen Hill are characters in The Thorn. Wordsworth first describes a thorny bush. And near the thorny bush, there is the mound, the grave of a child. That child is the child of Martha Ray. Whether she killed the child or it was stillborn, it is not clear. Martha Ray used to be in love with Stephen Hill. They got ready to marry. They got engaged. And Stephen Hill disappeared on the day of their marriage. He married somebody else. Martha Ray went and lived in the mountain alone. She gave birth to her child there and the child died also. Whether it was born dead or not, now nobody knows. And Martha Ray is like a mad woman now. This is the story of the thorn. Did you understand? This is the story of the thorn. Stephen Hill did wrong, yes. It is not novel. Feature film. The poem Perfect Woman, which begins, she was a phantom of delight, was written by Wordsworth about dash. Please read about these poems. That will be enough. You will get a lot of questions if you look up all these. I'm sure. The poem Perfect Woman, she was a phantom of delight. It was written by Wordsworth about, is it mythological woman, his sister, his wife? I think all of you are wrong. It is his wife. He wrote it about Mary Hutchinson. Wife, okay, Mary Hutchinson. Which of these poems was suggested by a picture of Peel Castle in a Storm painted by Sir George Beaumont? It is part of the title. I did not cheat. He cheated by writing about his wife. Tell which poem is inspired by this picture of Peel Castle in a Storm painted by Sir George Beaumont. That is the title, full title. Descriptive sketches was his earliest work. It is elegiac stanzas. It is elegiac stanzas. Elegiac stanzas suggested by a picture of Peel Castle in a Storm painted by Sir George Beaumont. That is the full title. I think only Lakshya said this. Lakshya. No problem. Now you know, na? This is how you remember. How do I know? Major poems of Wordsworth, I looked. That is how. She is only 12 or 13 years old, Lakshya. She just looked at the picture and thought, she must have thought it is elegiac. You know, just think clearly. Don't be pressurized by the exam. Elegiac stanzas suggested by a picture of Peel Castle in a Storm. Will you remember? Then, which of these poems is about an old huntsman? It is Simon Lee, Michael Jackson. Simon Lee, Old Huntsman, that is famous. Remember, Wordsworth's Simon Lee, Old Huntsman. Okay, don't forget. Promise me you will read a little bit. Michael is a farmer. Peter Bell also is a rustic farmer. Then, which of these lakes repeatedly appears in Wordsworth's poems? It is Lake District, है ना? बहुत सारे lakes हैं वहां. It is Lake Esthwaite. Lake Esthwaite only. All the others are not there. Lake Esthwaite he writes about. He has written about Lake Esthwaite. Other lakes also are there, but Ullswater and Buttermere are not there. What is the trauma of Margaret in The Affliction of Margaret? Her son is missing. She has just buried her son. Her son has left her and gone to the city. I searched for lakes in England. What is the trauma of Margaret? What is the opening line of Affliction of Margaret? Ullswater is there in Daffodils, eh? Where? Ullswater is not mentioned anyway. Esthwaite is mentioned many times. Affliction of Margaret. What is the opening line? Then you will remember. Then you will understand. Where art thou, my beloved son? Where art thou, worse to me than dead? That is the opening line. Where art thou, my beloved son? Where art thou, worse to me than dead? It is son is missing. We don't know where she is. He is. He didn't go to city or anything. We don't know where he is. He may be dead. He may be dead. We don't know. She keeps on thinking, where is the son? Now, in book 13 of the Prelude, Wordsworth writes, long time in search of knowledge did I range the field of human life, in heart and mind benighted. Benighted means what? Benighted means what? Benighted. Balakrishna, will you switch off your video, please? Benighted means full of darkness only. Benighted, you know, night, that word at least remember. Benighted means full of darkness. My mind full of darkness of ignorance, that is the meaning. My mind full of darkness of ignorance, that is the meaning. Did you understand? 1 minute. Then, where the statue stood of dash with his prism and silent face, the marble index for a mind forever, voyaging through strange seas of thought alone. Whose statue is he talking about in the prelude? Only one or two more questions are there. Last question, I think this one. It is Newton. Where the statue stood of Newton with his prism and silent face, the marble index for a mind forever. Important quotes from prelude, at least look up. Okay? Yes. Finished for today. Ta-dang! Did you like it? Thank you guys for being with me. I am also learning. This is wonderful. I again implore, I'm telling you, please read all these poems. Look at what is this, what the summary of this poem is. What is the opening of this poem? Please read, okay? Because you will definitely get some questions from poetry, and this is how you will cover it. For every important poet, please read the summaries, and everything is there in the internet. Only 1 or 2 minutes you need for one. Don't feel pressurized. Everybody has work, everybody has problems, everybody has this, that. Within whatever time is available, just enjoy. Don't think negative at all. Think only positive things. Enjoy what you're doing. Love what you're doing. Then it will be possible. If you keep on thinking negative, I can't remember, I have this problem, my mind is breaking, then sleep. If you can't remember, sleep for some time and get up early and study. Manage everything. Manage. Did you understand? So like that, everything can be achieved. Read all this. My video is like a guide, what you should read. All these you should read. I'm sure you will get some questions from all this. Okay? Bye. Good night. Sleep well. Don't get pressurized. Enjoy. Think positive thoughts. Tell yourself 10 positive things before you sleep. Every hour, tell yourself 2 positive things. Don't think anything negative. I will pass. I will remember. These questions will come. I can study more. Only that you should say. Why should you say negative things? Anyway, negative things are there. You don't have to say them or remember them. Just ignore them. Did you understand? Okay. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Love you all. God bless you.